we are gifted with 7 systems. And intelligence is connecting of the dots. So only having musical intelligence without some of the others also being activated can cause a whole host of other ramifications, as we have seen with many, many, many performing artists. And there's one that I've been doing some work with, and it's very clear that the kinesthetic intelligence is absolutely vital for this particular musical artist, because he loses this connection to his body, and it just completely gets drawn into quite an aggressive form of substance abuse, even though he knows better. And initially it began by him finding that he started creating a new genre of music by taking certain substances. And it was like a little bit of that substance and the genre of music would come out. And then he lost that connection to his kinesthetic intelligence. So that little bit became a little bit more, and then it became a little bit more, and then it became, and this also, and that also. And that's actually destroying not only his life, but his career as well. And he's losing some very important people in his band as a result. Musical intelligence is still very high. Connect the dots for yourself. That is the key thing. And you can activate any of these systems because you're born with this intelligence. Music in one form or another will move you. And it moves you because it activates your experience of this intelligence. The amazing thing about all of these, you can see, words don't matter. It is intelligence, your ability to connect the dots. So it doesn't matter if you're educated or you're not educated. Spatial intelligence exists in droves I'm calling it the Adivasis, or people who live in the jungles. They don't speak my language. I don't understand what they're saying if I was only to focus on the words. But I can plug into spatial intelligence ability within myself, and I can plug into the kinesthetic intelligence and make that connection. And the moment the music plays, it moves me. It doesn't matter that I understand it or not. And we are so fortunate that we live in this time where we have access to so much technology that we really can activate all of these intelligence systems, should we choose to. I'm doing this nugget of wisdom. You can, for the next 7 weeks, just take on one at a time and activate it for yourself. Because remember, it's all about reawakening your cellular memory. However jaded you may be, I don't sing. Oh, I can't stand this kind of music. Or, I find it awful to be with you guys because you just push me to sing. Like my nieces get really upset. They have this trauma from growing up and being asked to perform because they're such amazing singers. So when it comes to big, large family gatherings, they make all of us, 3 sisters, promise we're not going to ask them to sing. So whatever it may be, the key thing I want to say here is our presence, our physical body even, is made up of 124 trillion cells. And vast majority of them are newly born because cells are being born and dying all the time. There's a small proportion that dies, there's a larger proportion that's born at times, and the vice versa. 124 trillion cells. Vast majority of them have all of these 7 systems active, and they're active fully. So have no fear whatsoever. Vast majority of you has all of these intelligence systems readily available. So whatever you might be jaded about, unconditionally accept what is. We are actually doing this body of work on really connecting to the 124 trillion cells in Beyond Meditation, if any of you wish to join. Let's look at this next form of intelligence. It is also related to sound. And whilst, psychologists call it linguistic intelligence or language intelligence, it really is the sensitivity to sounds, rhythms, inflections, and a gauge of words where words exist. This linguistic intelligence, by the way, is very advanced and very pronounced in dogs. So it's not necessarily about language as in words. It's really being able to connect to the sensitivity of the meaning, the vibration really of the words that are being used. So, if you have pets, and I don't have pets, I have never grown up with pets, but I work very, very comfortably with animals. And I've seen it so many times. There's one particular dog that I would go visit them. And when I go visit them, she comes to me and she is like constantly making these dog sounds and pacing up and down and then jumping and making slightly different sounds. It's all intonations. She's telling me all the stories or whatever has occurred that I missed since the last time I was there. Like such a personality. There's another cousin of mine, there was a particular point where I was being taught astral travel, right? How do you, how I do that? So it lasted about 5 or 6 weeks. And it was during those journeys that I received the birth of the World Dignity Forum took place, right? So this little Yoda, they called him Yoda because he looked like Yoda. He's a French bulldog. So I would sit in the recliner chair and my guidance was, I'm not to do it alone. I have to be right in the heart of the house where there's a lot of activity. And I'm doing this astral travel stuff. I would sit on there and this dog would come and sit in front of me on the floor and just like look up at me. And I would say, am I ready? And then there's a particular sound he would make when it was like, okay, game on. Eyes closed, off you go. And everybody knew the moment Yoda has made that sound, Mynoo is commandeered the living room and you cannot touch her. You should just leave her. And it was a beautiful part. It's linguistic intelligence in action. So it's not about words alone. This is why when they do the IQ tests and they ask you all these questions which are so word related and stuff, it doesn't necessarily measure the intelligence. It only probably measures the intellect, which is the application of intelligence using only some of these systems, So we all have linguistic intelligence. So if you, like I have this story, it's difficult for me to learn languages. Well, it's not really, I'm born with linguistic intelligence. So now I can totally get the vibe of it. I don't understand the words often, but when people, depending on where I am, and people ask me questions in their language, it's as if I understand it perfectly because, when I give the responses, they totally get it. They think that I'm speaking their language and they get it because remember, often you hear me say, my communication is cellular. I'm activating your linguistic intelligence. So you'll get all the layers of what I'm talking about. Some will get processed intellectually. And if you only thought that that is the only way in which you are receiving information, just really think again. So really just know where you are at. You don't require an IQ test to measure. You will know on a scale of 1 to 10, where am I in terms of utilizing this intelligence? It's all about you utilizing it, not that you are or not. You are. You're born with it. Vast majority of your 124 trillion cells have the full capacity of all of these systems activated. So, poets, novelists, journalists, where the focus is words, okay, they have this linguistic ability. And there are many others who just communicate through sounds like dogs or horses and other birds, my goodness. And in fact, even trees, if you can allow yourself to plug into it, very talkative bunch the trees are. They operate from very strong linguistic intelligence, always stationed in that innate vibe of okayness. So if you as a human station yourself in your innate vibe of love, you will be able to work with all of these intelligence systems at the same time.